I'm so sick and tired of watching individuals complain, be riddled with anxiety and depression because they're sitting at home waiting for purpose and passion to knock on their door. Guess what, fam? It ain't coming. You have to have experiences. You got to put yourself in the room.
Do you think a lot of people are living below their potential?
Everybody is.
What do you mean by that?
Well, the current standard of excellence is terrible, especially for this generation. And I think if people shifted their mentality to like, standard is not okay, normal is not okay, complacence is not okay, we're not breaking records, we're setting new standards for other people to chase. The world would be a very different place if we all showed up with that type of capacity. Do combat sports, man. You'll find out real quick where you are and what the standard is. Because if everybody would do the hardest thing they could think of, then everything else becomes easier. And you're either the victim or the victor.
What does being great mean to you?
Never quitting. Great is not to get to the mountaintop and stand there solo. It's how many people can you bring with you to the mountaintop.
And the more value you can create for others and help them achieve their goals and dreams, it'll come back around to yourselves.
Awesome. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the show. I'm really excited for today's episode. We got an amazing guest. This man is an entrepreneur. He's an endurance athlete, speaker, author, and we really appreciate him coming on, man. We got James Lawrence, the Iron Cowboy, man. James, thanks for coming on board to be great.
What's up, boys?
Well, we really appreciate you coming on, man. And Nick, dude, what you got for James, man? I think we could go.
What has James got for me? I guess he got up at 3:00 and hit a 2-hour run this morning. James, is that a daily thing?
No, that was kind of early. I kind of couldn't sleep last night, and so I was like, I knew I had a 2-hour run on the schedule, and I was like, I can catch a nap later, and I'll knock this out right now. And it's kind of nice because sometimes it's great to get up and just total silence and nobody's out and just you, your breath, your footsteps kind of thing. And it was nice. It was nice to get out and get it done. And then I did catch a nap, so that was good. But yeah, sometimes it's just good to get up and get it. That isn't normal for me though. I do enjoy my sleep. I prioritize it. Recovery is obviously a huge.
Yeah, I know. I think I don't think I've ever done a 3:30 run in the morning, but definitely respect it there. So
You haven't lived.
I know. I guess not, man. I mean, I've done a 5:30 a.m. run, like with the sunrise here on the beach, but I like to see the sun. I don't know if I'd want to do that just in all the dark. I mean, maybe, I don't know. Maybe I give it a try this week. We'll see. Maybe you'll inspire me on this podcast. I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
you will.
I think everybody should run like an ultra or like a 24-hour so that you get to the point where it's like kind of what I just talked about, where it's just you, your thoughts, your breath, outside nature, just it's kind of spiritual.
How long is an ultra again?
So there's kind of different categories: 50K, 50 miles, 100K, 100 miles, and then now there's 200 milers, 240.
And you think everyone should do that?
Why not?
Shit, man. Nick, you want to sign up for an ultra, bro?
I'll do one eventually, man.
At least a 50K. That's 32 miles.
I don't identify as a runner, but I've been told, like, Jesse Itzler's a friend, and he says the same thing. He's like, everyone should at least run a marathon. I think he says everyone should run a marathon before they turn 30. And I think I agree with that one. I've done a marathon before. I just turned 30 and I've done a marathon. But dude, I don't even know how you did 100 Ironmans in 100 days, because I wanted to quit I think at mile 10 during my marathon. So I really want to get into more of like the mindset stuff, because I think, if you're listening here and you don't know who James Lawrence is, you're probably living under a rock. So I don't want to just have him talk about a story the whole time. But James, dude, what makes you want to just do 100, I guess 101 Ironman? You just wake up. I know you did the 50, then you wake up and I just want to do 101 just to is it to prove everyone wrong? What went through your head?
Well, I think it's a natural progression, and I love the concept of kind of you can't go from 0 to 100, and there's a lot of steps in between. And so I think you'd actually do yourself a disservice if you went from no running to 100 miler. There's kind of steps along the way, because those distances, the physical feats that we do, there's two kinds of suffering, right? Suffering because you haven't prepared and then you're just dragging yourself through it. And then you've prepared and you're pushing limit or potential. And so I didn't wake up and off the couch and say 100 Ironmans. It started with a 4-mile fun run that I struggled through. And then it was years of sprint and Olympic triathlons, which is explosive, fast type style racing. And then slowly got into halves and fulls. And then I just wanted to do one, right? That was as big as I could think. And then as you evolve and as you go on a journey and as we all change, it's like any category, right? Like business or relation, like whatever you do, you get better and better over time as you engage. And so we just got better and better over time. One day you're just like, what is human potential? What can we do? What are limits that are being imposed on us? And then one thing leads to another, and you wake up and you're like, I think 100 is
Hmm.
possible.
Do you think a lot of people are living below their potential?
Everybody is.
What do you mean by that?
Well, the current standard of excellence is terrible, especially for this generation. I got 5 kids, right? And it's interesting because my daughter was a lifeguard supervisor, and this kid didn't show up for work, and she comes home and she's all pissed. And she's like, so and so didn't show up to work today. And I was like, oh, that kid got fired today. And she's like, fired? No. You're allowed to have no call, no show 3 times. And I'm like, what? I'm like, how's that the standard? Like back in the day, and I'm going to sound old for 2 seconds. I'm turning 50 this year, but I'm like, if I thought about not coming to work, like I'd get a phone call, be like, hey, we know you're thinking about not coming in, so don't come in because you're fired. But now, I mean, there's so few people willing to work that like that's kind of the standard. And so people are comparing themselves to the current standard of excellence, which sucks. It's piss poor. I put on horse blinders, man. I don't compare myself to anybody. I don't follow these guys. I don't care what anybody else is doing or trying to accomplish. I'm trying to chase human potential, what I believe is possible. And I've got this saying, I don't break records, I set new standards. And I think if people shifted their mentality to like standard is not okay, normal is not okay, complacency is not okay. We're not breaking records, we're setting new standards for other people to chase. The world would be a very different place if we all showed up with that type of capacity.
Where was that developed? That mindset or philosophy. Where did you develop that? I mean, it was just over time of pushing your new levels of standards, or why are you the way you are?
Yeah, great question. Is it nature or nurture, right?
Right.
How much of it are we born with and how much of it do we learn? And I think we're all born with a certain level of dog, and then we got to develop it. And, I watched my grandmother immigrate from Poland with nothing and build an empire, not making any excuses, and just through gritty hard work. I watched my dad as a blue collar firefighter worker, not make any excuses and do the work. And I grew up a wrestler. And man, you want to test in life? You want to know where you're at? Mano a mano, no excuses, nowhere to run. Do combat sports, man. Get in a boxing ring. Do jujitsu. Do something. Like you'll find out real quick where you are and what the standard is. And then you're either going to choose to be a mat mop, or you're going to change your standards, and you're going to start to prepare differently and show up in a different capacity.
So when Nick and I talk about this a lot, and I'm always trying to observe people and just like find patterns of like what makes people great. But like something I feel like I've seen for myself, at least in my own, eyes, is like pain and people tired of feeling that pain, like they want to be better and like change their life a little bit. Do you think people have to like, you mentioned suffering earlier. Do you think people have to suffer? They have to go through pain to like raise their standards to be better, to be great?
I don't necessarily think it has to be pain, but you have to have experiences for sure. And you have to be humbled, and you have to be broken down in order to build yourself back up. And so, yeah, I think it's definitely part of the process, in order to feel something, in order to know how to navigate through that, right? Because if everybody would do the hardest thing they could think of, then everything else becomes easier. I did this race in Fiji called the world's toughest race. It's on Amazon Prime. It was 10 days long, and map and compass navigation. In fact, I've sitting on my desk right here, two of the medallions that we had to find amongst the course and hand them in to get to the new course maps. Really cool race, right? Bear Grylls was the host, Mark Burnett production, whole thing. And they kept the race is called the world's toughest race. You can check it out. It's on Prime. And the producers kept trying to get me to say this was the hardest thing I've ever done. And dude, me and my teammates, we were teammates of 4, we had a blast. We laughed a lot of the time, despite all the suffering we were doing, but we were having a great time. It's because we'd intentionally done something that was so much harder than that. And everybody else was complaining and whining and pissing and moaning, and they just hadn't done anything harder than that in their lives. And so like, you want life to be easy, like do hard things all the time, and then normal life becomes easy. And I love the saying, like, if you're not changing it, you're choosing it. And you're either the victim or the victor. And so a lot of people like that victim mentality, and they use it as an excuse, the way that life is being delivered to them. But we all have a choice on how we're navigating with. Do you guys have friends that like are still talking about, like, let's say you just told me, Justin, you're 30, right? Do you have friends that are still talking about some trauma when they were 20 years old and
Yeah,
things
and
that
I don't really hang out with them anymore.
yeah, exactly, because they're toxic, and they're not choosing to change. And so they're choosing their trauma. If you are still talking about your past from a decade ago, you are putting forth zero effort in trying to resolve it and trying to overcome it and trying to learn from what you're doing. And you are the victim. And in fact, you're enjoying being the victim because of the attention that you're getting. And it's the worst kind of attention you can get. And so I have very little respect for someone that is still talking about something that happened a decade ago.
Yeah, I think the victim mindset's definitely a disease, and like once it gets a hold of you, it's tough to, get cured, I think. You mentioned like excellence earlier being important.
It's not tough, it's difficult.
Hmm.
And people don't like things that are hard, that are challenging. And so it's easy to remain the victim. And so that's the path of least resistance, right? Change and growth is hard. It takes self-reflection, it takes failure, it takes responsibility, all the thing, accountability. These are hard words for some people to digest, right? I mean, you can isolate 10 people right now in your circle that are no longer probably in your circle because they own those attributes.
Yeah, and I think well, the reason I called it a disease because like I felt like you said it was toxic earlier, like when they were hanging out with me, and like me and Nick talk about this too, man. Like I think that's part of why we're doing this is, we're talking about how you change that standard of, like the podcast called Born to Be Great because, we have the same mindset as you, right? Like but it's a choice at the end of the day. But like being around those kind of people, like it makes me worse. And it's not like they're bad. I'm not trying to say they're bad or good or whatever. But I think if you do have a mission, if you do want to better your life, like it is really challenging and difficult to spend time with them because they're like, it's like crabs in a bucket. They just pull you down. And that's part of like what we're trying to do here is just like from a younger generation perspective of like, how can we put out a good message, get people like you on the podcast to be like, yo, this is actually what it takes. Like, dude, if you want to fucking run a marathon or like 2 or 3, like James is here to tell you, like, it's not easy, but like, it'll be like one of the best decisions you'll ever make if you choose to. Right. So
And it's not the 26.2 miles. It's if you've done the preparation properly, it's who you become in order to accomplish the 26.2 miles. And to your point, we fall to the level of our standards and we fall to the level of our systems, and you will fall to the level of the people that you surround yourself with. They're not going to rise to your standard. Now, some of them may, right? But you are absolutely putting yourself at risk that you are going to drop to their standards. And so I've got 5 kids, right? Ages 16 to 23. And it's something my mom always said to me too. And it really resonated with me is she was always like, be careful, son, who you hang out with is who you date and who you date is who you marry. And so like that is a sequence and a steps and they follow each other. And so like I always caution my kids like, hey, you want to be the leader of the group and you want to lead from the front, but are you surrounded by other people who are also trying to lead? Because that's a pivotal thing to recognize. Because if you're the leader and it's easy to be a leader amongst chumps, right? And but you want to be a leader amongst giants. Rising tides raise all ships. And so hopefully you surround yourself with dogs and then you're all trying to rise your ships, right?
yeah, no, we love the word dogs. Nick, I'm curious too, Nick, because like even the NFL, man, like what was it like in the locker room? Where was everyone a dog, or were there guys dragging other guys down? Too like what?
And
Like
seriously, Nick, you look like you're 12. I can't believe you played in the NFL. Like, good for you.
12th. No, man, it was a long, hard, underdog story. It just kept the main thing from the main thing for a while. Made plays, and then played with the Cowboys. But I would say
It's a tough culture, man. I've spoken to some NFL teams. It's rough, man. You got to have a good mindset out there too, because
yeah,
some
I mean,
like you've probably experienced, some of the players aren't necessarily great people. They're just great athletes.
no, you're spot on there. There are freaky elite, athletes, and very small percentage of the guys can just show up and just with their talent completely beat everybody. Most people are in the same boat where you're busting your ass every single day, worried for your job. But you've got to be just so laser focused on doing your job to the best of your ability that's all you that's all you kind of think about. But I think about how stressful it was, but then you get used to that level of stress, and it's just all about execution and controlling what you can control. But there definitely is a culture element where you've got guys that buy into a set of standards, and some other people don't. And when they don't, it drags everybody else down. But the teams that get it together and they work as one unit, I mean, they're a fucking machine, man. And it compounds over the course of over the course of the season.
Well, and I saw it firsthand because I spoke at 5 or 6 teams, and culture mattered, man. Leadership mattered, coaching mattered, like facility mattered, like all of that stuff was contributing to the overall well-being of a player. And it's like life, right? Your environment matters, your culture matters, who you follow matters, who's leading you matters. Like all those things matter in terms of being a dog and being able to rise with the other dogs in the field, right?
So I get this question a lot. No, I guess not a lot, but sometimes it's like, Justin, like, how do you find these people? Like, how do I find like a guy like Nick or some friends? I guess, James, I'm curious, like, what would you suggest? Maybe someone who's in their 20s, maybe just getting out of college, trying to better their life. Like, how does someone become a dog and find their, wolf pack, I guess?
Great question, and I actually really like this question because I come across a lot of people that are like, I don't have any friends, and I don't know any mentors, and I can't surround myself, and I live in a small town, or I was born into this family, and all the excuses. Dude, we live in an unbelievable time where social media is free, and you can find your 5 dogs right now on social media and emulate them. Do what they do, act how they act, say what they say, and it's not fake it till you make it; it's be it till you become it. And in order to become something, you have to act in accordance of that. And I see so many people just like complaining and whining, I don't have friends and this and that. And I'm like, dude, you have to level up before you're going to attract that type of energy. And you've got this like woe is me mentality. And guess what? You're attracting woe is me people. And then you guys get together and you suck as a group. And so like be okay being a lone wolf for a while, be okay emulating the people you want to emulate on social media. And that's totally okay. Like I'm kind of a lone wolf, right? Like I'm cool that way. But like I've got like five guys that I'm actually friends with in real life, but they don't live in close proximity to me. But we'll do phone calls and I watch them online and I'm following them and tracking what they're doing, how they're showing up, different things like that. And so every single person has that opportunity. That they can do that. And so we live in a day and age where there's no longer an excuse. I live in a small town. Like I've traveled through over 50 countries. I go to the most beat up part of Africa. They've all got cell phones. I don't know how they do it, but everybody's got a cell phone and it's a Samsung, it's a smartphone, and they got access to the internet. So we live in a day and age where there's no longer a shortage of information. In fact, there's probably too much information, and that it's confusing. But the reality is like find your dogs online first and rise yourself up, level up, and then start to get those people in real life. Here's the other thing too. Young people, go to the seminars, go to the workshops, go to the group activities, go to like, I'm so sick and tired of watching individuals complain, be riddled with anxiety and depression because they're sitting at home waiting for purpose and passion to knock on their door. Guess what, fam? It ain't coming. You have to have experiences. You got to put yourself in the room. You got to sack up and go talk to these individuals and just like shoot your shot, man. And the people that don't are going to lose. And nobody's great when you take your first shot. I do a lot of keynote speaking, and one of the things I lean into is every journey has a humble beginning. Well, your networking journey has a humble beginning, and you maybe aren't going to be the greatest, but it's a skill set that you can develop. Relationships are a skill set. Communication is a skill set. Going to these events and networking is a skill set, and all of those things take effort. And what we're talking about, like it takes effort to do that. Like I'm friends with Jesse too, but I'm not going to wake up one day, have accomplished nothing and be like, "Ooh, I wish I was friends with Jesse Itzler." Well, it's not going to happen. I got to do things that allows me to be in the same rooms as Jesse so that we can be dogs together, right? Like I'm going to his house this summer to do Hell on the Hill. And it's going to be an amazing experience. And I've went to his house in Connecticut and I spoke to his top 20 leaders. Like I did something that allowed me access to that room. And now we're in the same track.
I love that because what you said first about finding your tribe online, I think that's me and Nick's come up story. When I met Nick, when we met each other, we were talking about like how we found Tony Robbins online, like Ed Milet, like you. Like I found you listening to Andy Frisella. Me and Nick love fucking Andy Frisella, and so we were like, it's like how Yeah, like, how can you emulate Andy a little bit and, like, become more like him? But we found him online, like, he wasn't in my backyard.
Here's what's crazy. Like, I'm nobody. Like, I'm nobody special. I grew up in Canada. I've had every genetic test done. Like, I am the most average white dude on the planet. Like, there's nothing special about me, but I put forth a lot of effort and I make a lot of sacrifices. And over time, I've become great. I truly believe like I'm 3 phone calls away from the president. I firmly believe that. Like, I'm doing an event this weekend. I just got called. It's in Big Sky, Montana. I just got the guest list. It's insane who's going to be there. We're doing dinner with Shaquille O'Neal, and Jeff Bezos and his wife are going to be in the audience because she's speaking after me. It's like I can't even. I couldn't have even imagined in my wildest dreams that like in 2 days from now I'm going to meet Shaq, and I could text Logan Paul right now because I'll just the things we've done. Like we did the 100 Ironmans, and Logan Paul reaches me a message. He's like, "Dog, that's crazy," and I'm like, "Hold on a second, what's happening?" Right? And so like live your life in a capacity that these people recognize. Greatness recognizes greatness, right? And I'm not saying I'm great. I'm just saying you got to do something in your life. You can't sit at home and wait for greatness to come pick you up. You got to become great.
Yeah, no, I think that's like, I mean, I think that's basically just the core message right there. It's like, you said greatness recognizes greatness. That's like me and Nick's sort of motto here. We're like, or at least what we're trying to do, we're trying to find those 300 Spartans that can like sort of change the world type of thing. But they're not going to want to hang out with you if you're not great yourself. And so, Nick and his business and everything, it's just like, it's so important to like do the thing.
What's so funny? You said the 300 Spartans. So I had a really cool experience. I got called up by a Navy SEAL, and he was like, "Hey, we're taking a group of civilians and Navy SEALs, and we're going to run and reenact the Sparta to Thermopylae that the 300 warriors did in Greece." And so we ran across Greece, 250 miles, and we reenacted that whole march where they went to battle those 300 warriors. It was super cool, really cool experience to just do with a bunch of SEALs and a bunch of civilians and help them through just realizing the next step's not going to kill them, and to, just be in that place in history. Like we literally marched the
Wow.
same route that those 300 warriors did to Acropolis. It was just really cool.
Dang, no, it sounds like you're doing a bunch of cool trips, man. I might have to get into, I might have to get in some Ironmans, dude.
Keep telling Justin he needs to get freaking jacked, man. Run long and do some powerlifting.
I'm
Gotta
working
do the
on it.
difficult shit.
I'm working on it, bro. I'm trying to be like you. So I was talking with my coach probably about 6 or 8 months ago. We're talking about, challenges and doing difficult things. And he was like, I think all men should at least have some sort of physical challenge to like look forward to, whether that's 75 hard or, running a marathon, half marathon. And I've noticed in my life where if I'm not like working out or like having something to strive for physically, like my life is very different. James, have you noticed that even like, we were just talking before we started recording, I was like, when's your next race? And you're like, I'm going to Boston. I haven't really done any many Ironman since the, 101. Like, have you noticed that within yourself or maybe other people as well?
Yeah, we're always doing tough things. Like in May, I'm just like, oh, I'm going to go swim. I'm going to go jump off Alcatraz and swim to Sacramento. I mean, San Francisco. And then like I'm turning 50 this year, and so I'm kind of doing like a really cool challenge every single month. Like one of them's Hell in the Hell with Jesse, and um, we're just doing something kind of wacky each month. Dude, my December challenge is gonna. I'm almost terrified to do what I have planned in December. So, and this was actually Jesse's idea, and I don't think he's doing it the same way I'm doing it. Because he called it. He said it flippantly on like how he talks about his misogi,
Yeah.
his everything hard, and he said I'm going to do a 29:029 triathlon. And so I immediately sent him a message, and I was like, "What does that mean?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm going to swim the 29,000 yards. I'm going to do Everesting on my bike, and then I'm going to do our race." And I'm thinking, because he does a 29:029 mountain race.
Mhm.
Again, just the 29:029 mountain race is 24 hours. I've done Everesting on a bike, and that took me like 24 hours. And then I'm like, I know it's going to take about 10 hours to swim 29,000 yards. And so I'm like, I talked to my 2 wingmen, they're the guys that do all the stupid stuff with me. And I was like, boys, I know we're all 3 of us are doing Ironman Sacramento. We're all going to try to go sub 10. It's an elusive mark. And I said, our December challenge is going to be a 29:029 triathlon where we are going to do it straight. It's probably going to take us like 60 hours straight, but it's going to be swim 29,000, 29 yards, Everest on a bike, the elevation of Everest, and then go run up and down 29,000 feet. So it's going to take us, I think I think we can generate somewhere between 50 and 60 hours. And it's going to
What's the
depend on,
preparation for that?
yeah, just
You got to
training
do
for
something harder than that to be able to like,
No, I mean, literally the training to do a sub 10-hour Ironman is going to get us ready for that. Just the volume that you have to do, the speed, because you can't, when you're doing something for 60 hours, you're not doing it at the same pace you're doing it at 10 hours, right? The Olympic marathoners that are running like a 2:05 marathon, it feels the same to their bodies as it would be for like you, Justin, to run a 10-minute mile, right? That's right at the threshold where your body is processing lactate. Because when I first started training, I was naive and I was like, okay, I can run a 10-minute mile right now, but when I can run an 8-minute mile, it's going to be a lot easier. And then when I'm in shape and I can run a 6-minute mile, it's a lot easier. It feels the same bullshit the whole time because I'm just pushing the threshold of where I'm at, right? And so if you can get yourself to a threshold to where your body is super efficient and it's processing that lactate right at that threshold, then if you're doing something longer, you just slow down and it becomes infinitely easier. Because now if I was at zone 3, 4 before, I'm at zone 1, 2 now. And so now I can maintain that type of effort for a really long period of time. And so we're going to prepare ourselves to do 10 hours really, really fast. And then 60 hours is just going to be a much slower conservative pace.
Mhm.
So that's going to be our challenge for December.
Wild.
And then I haven't announced it yet, but in March of 2027, we're breaking two new world records. And so all the preparation we're doing this year is leading towards those world records. But to your original question, yes, everybody should do something difficult, physical. And we run a program called Commit 365. And the concept is like, your life is shit. Just commit for 365 days. Like, stop complaining. Just follow this program for 365 days and you will be a different person. And a huge component of that is a physical aspect. So we dive into mental, we dive into financial, we dive into physical, we dive, all of the social responsibility, all of it. And it's a year-long program that takes you through. But a huge piece of that is doing something hard. And it actually starts with a 100-day challenge. And one of those challenges is physical. And so by the end of 365 days, you're a different person and you've developed incredible skill sets and discipline and habits and procedures and system, like all of it.
It sounds like an amazing program. I love that.
It is, bro. I did it. I made it.
When you're doing like your December challenge, when you're going for 60-hour straight, is that more mental? Is it more physical? Is it like a combination of both? How does that work for you?
Yeah, it's got to be 100% of both. And this analogy might make sense to you. Let's say, Justin, you are 300 pounds and not the good 300 kind of pounds, but you're incredibly mentally tough. I don't care how mentally tough you are. You're not going to drag a 300-pound body. You've got physical limitations. And now let's say you, Nick, you are a physical specimen, right? But you're mentally weak. I don't care how physically stout you are. Mentally, you're going to crush and you're going to break. And so it's 100% of both, and they go hand in hand. Now, I believe the physical side comes first, and then you develop the mental side. But when you're doing something crazy like a 60-hour challenge or whatever it is, and even an Ironman, like, you have to be 100% of both. And I guess there's different categories too, because I did a 21-day water only fast. And that becomes more mental, right? Because I wasn't doing something physical. In fact, I was doing the opposite of something physical. I had to really rest and recover because the purpose was total body regeneration. And
you didn't eat for 21 days?
Mm-hmm, correct.
Wow. How much weight did you lose?
22 pounds.
Wow. Did that just reset your entire...
Yep. Resets your entire microbiome, resets your entire immune system. It eliminates every bit of inflammation. I'm actually going to bring up a picture and show you these two pictures were taken 21 days apart from each other.
Whoa. Wow.
21 days.
That's gnarly. And you saying that's more mental, like down the line? Like
that was more mental, right? That's how can you control your mind? Can you resist temptation? Can you stay the course? It wasn't physical at all. Because again, the purpose was recovery and restoration and rebuilding. Well, you're being counterproductive if you're going to go crush a 2-hour workout. In fact, you don't have the energy to do it. Your mind is great because now you're fueling off of pure glycogen. Um, but that type of challenge is going to be more mental. It'd be like if I went and did like a 3-day darkness retreat. That's definitely going to be more mental, right? But as soon as you bring physicality into it, it's 100% of both.
So how does that work? Like, I mean, Nick and I have talked about this too. When like, he's in the league and he's like, my body's beat up, but I got to keep going. That sounds to me like it's more mental, but also physical. Like, I'm sure when you were running your Ironmans, there's no way you were 100% healthy. Like, you got injured for sure, and then you had to keep going. That sounds more mental to me too, though. So like,
Right. It's 100% of both, man.
I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know.
that's the perfect example of it's 100% of both. Because as my body's breaking down, just because of sheer volume and intensity, mental has to kick in. But if I wasn't strong enough physically, it doesn't matter how mentally strong I am. I have physical limitations, right?
Hmm. No, yeah, I guess that makes sense. No, I mean, it's just, I mean, for me, I think it's been more, I mean, because I don't know if I identify as like an athlete like you guys in that sense, but I feel like, especially in business though, because like I'm an entrepreneur, right? I always think it's more, and I guess the physical is not the best example here, but it's definitely more psychology than it is business tactics. Like you're talking about, victim mentality. A lot of entrepreneurs I know, they're like, they might deal with someone like getting fired or firing someone that's not fun, or someone might quit, or they might lose a customer. That's not fun, but you got to have the mindset to figure it out, or you're not going to make it. So to me, I'm always like trying to figure out what makes James like when his back's against the wall when he's injured, that mentality to kick in. I think in business too, like most of the guys, at least not most of the guys that I know, not now, but like a lot of people out there, I don't think they have the mindset. They might have the tactic, but the mindset doesn't carry them forward, which I think might carry them a little further than the tactics. That makes sense.
Dude, entrepreneurship is so hard. I mean, if you follow Andy, you've heard him say it a ton of times. It is literally the hardest path that an individual can take. And that's why it spits so many people out because it is so mental. It is a grind. You have to show up when you don't feel like it. You have to uh, be able to understand rejections. You have to be able to be a master problem solver. You have to be able to pivot. You have to be able to have intelligence, creativity. Like in the beginning of the entrepreneur journey, you have to wear every single hat. And so, yeah, I think there's two different categories in terms of like what's more important, physical and mental. In a physical challenge, it's 100% of both. But then in most other cases, it's how are you shaping it in your mind? That now, yes, I will agree with you that it's more mental. But in a physical challenge, it has to be 100% of both. But in like entrepreneurship, you can be a really fat, out of shape, phenomenal entrepreneur. I don't respect you, but you can still be a
Yeah.
phenomenal entrepreneur, right?
I know a lot of those guys. I don't want to be them. Even if they had a bunch of money, it ain't all it's cracked up to be if you don't have your health.
Yeah, if you don't have your health, I mean, you're done. And those people can have the money, but they don't have the quality of life, and they're going to expire. Their life's going to expire before they ever realize the amount of money they can enjoy that level. So yeah, again, to me they're meant, but again, they have mental capacity in one category, but that doesn't mean you're disciplined across all areas of your life. In fact,
Mhm.
I think I almost hesitate to say this. Um,
Go for it.
Discipline doesn't exist. If I hear one more damn influencer say, just be more disciplined, what does that mean? Describe that to me. How do I become more disciplined? Discipline is simply a byproduct of systems. You develop discipline because you're doing something else. You don't just have discipline. You don't wake up one day and go, I'm disciplined.
Hmm.
You develop it. It's a skill set.
So Andy talks a lot about discipline, and I think I would agree with you though, because I think for me too, like people like Justin, you're so disciplined, but I don't feel disciplined like at all. I just really enjoy what I do, and I've set up systems, habits, routines that allow me to get good at what I get to do, and I enjoy it. So I don't really feel disciplined though.
Discipline's a byproduct of your actions.
Yeah, and I think I mean, I think you hit on a really important topic there because uh, I don't know, I've never loved the word discipline either.
Watch your thoughts, they become words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. Watch your character becomes your destiny. Systems.
Yep.
So how do people develop a system to become disciplined as a byproduct, but to get better, whether that's in business, whether that's in endurance sports? Do you have like a formula or a system you use that's a little bit more tactical besides just be disciplined?
Yeah. Hire a coach, make lists, and follow this check the boxes. Like that's literally the way you do it. And people are like, I don't want to be restricted by a list. Great. You're destined for failure then. Good luck. Like every successful entrepreneur has a system. Alex Hormozi has a system. Jeff Bezos has a system. Companies at the highest level, they are heavily run and dictated by systems. One of the greatest books, Atomic Habits. You will fall to the level of your systems. Has nothing to do with habits. It has to do with systems.
I love what you said, they'll hire a coach, because I feel like the biggest lever that I've had in my life has just been like mentors, coaches, people in my life who have shown me systems, shown me processes, shown me the way to like get to where I want to go. It's not like I didn't wake up knowing any of this shit. It's just like those coaches, mentors, people in my life have been like, Justin, stop going there, do this, 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 and this. This is how you can make $1 million in a week. This is how you can make $2 million in a week. This is how you can sell your company one day.
Our entire Commit 365 program, it's a system. It's a system.
I'm about to help on that.
That's all it is. Parenting is a system. All we do as parents is put up like bowling bumper rails. And we have a system to keep bumping them into the middle and allowing them to stumble and make mistakes and success and fall down and stand back up. And the system is we're there to bump them back into the middle, right? And then there's systems in that middle lane. But show me one dog that doesn't have a system. Andy Frisella has a system. Ed Milet has a system. Jesse Itzler has a system. Jocko Willink has a system. All of them have systems. Every single one of them. And
that's facts.
They don't wait. Not a single one of those guys wake up and go, what am I going to do today? You know, they wake up and they planned it either on Sunday the week before or the night before. They wake up and they're like, these are the 5 things. In fact, what was the name of he died from cancer? Is the founder of Apple. What was his name?
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs. Dude, there's a reason he always wore the same shirt. It was one less thing he had to think about, and it was part of his system. He walked into his closet. He knows he only has so much capacity in a day. He walks into his closet. He took the same colored shirt. He had probably the same shirt, the entire closet. He would take that out. One less thing he had to think about. You're telling me that's not a system?
Facts. I stole that from Steve. I wear the same black shirt every day. I don't got to think about what I'm
I
wearing.
wear a hoodie every day.
That's awesome, man. I think
I'm a hoodie and a sweats guy.
yeah, I think that's so true. I think whether you want to be great in business, great in sports, the systems thing is totally spot on. James, are you doing what kind of business ventures are you involved with right now besides, your speaking and your writing? You doing anything else outside of that?
Yeah, writing a new book series right now, actually, which is a ton of fun. I'm really enjoying the creative process. Picking up some real estate. I'm doing some investing there. We've got some crumble cookie franchises. I'm an investor in a bunch of different like warehousing, packaging. I just invested in a company called More or Less, and it's protein gummies.
Okay.
I don't know if you heard of Nick Nurse. He's
Yeah.
He's kind of like a junior Tim Grover, if you would. And so I have a really diverse portfolio in terms of what I invest in, who I partner with. It's been a lot of fun. Just having different buckets, and being diversified. And then I got tons of money in the market and different things. But yeah, I like to, I'm an entrepreneur at heart, right? It's what I do. I firmly believe I'm unemployable. And so like, a lot of my investing right now is going into my company and developing the Commit 365 program and the systems that we're building around that to help people. And at the end of the day, my objective is like create freedom for my family and try to impact 1 million minds. And if I just make those 2 things my focus, then one thing I learned early in my career is like, the sooner you let go of control, the more successful you'll be. And what I mean by that is stop focusing on the end result or the outcome, and know what the desired outcome is, have the big stretch goal, but then reverse engineer it and just focus on the inputs. And if you do that every single day and you've got your system and you're focusing on inputs, you let go of control of when it's going to happen and you keep showing up, it's impossible for you to fail. And I think that's what a lot of entrepreneurs don't do is I hate the advice. I'm going to get pushback on this. I hate the advice of burn your ships. I think it's some of the worst advice ever. And some of the guys in my circle say it. But I hate it because you have no idea how much resources and how long it's going to take for your dream or your side hustle to happen. And if you burn your ships and it's taking longer than you think, now you've put yourself in a position of desperation. And then you start making really bad decisions. And you're going to burn your own ship. And now you don't have any ships, right? So don't burn your ship. Don't burn bridges. And, do the thing that puts food on the table and a roof over your head. And then have the balls and the tenacity to continue to work at it over time in the extra hours, right? And eventually that effort will pay off and you can now set your ship to sail and you no longer to be aboard that ship. But don't burn the ships, man. Keep your day job as an entrepreneur because I promise you, it's going to take 10 times longer than you think, and it's going to take 10 times the bankroll. And ask any successful entrepreneur, ask Jesse, ask Ed, ask Andy, ask all of them. It takes a hell of a long time. I joke all the time. The harder I work, the luckier I get.
Yeah, dude, you're right. I think I don't like that advice either. Burn the boats. It's like I know a ton of entrepreneurs, like you say that, who have done that, and they might last a year or two, and then by year 2 or 3, they're either raising money or they're shutting down shop. And I think the statistic's crazy. It's like 90, especially if you're a solo founder. I think it's like 90% of solo founders go to business in the first year. I don't know if they went all in or not, but yeah, it's like it's one of the most difficult, challenging things ever. So yeah, if you got a side hustle, like
I think I
hate your
think
day
going
job.
all in, I think going all in doesn't mean like all of your time. It means all of your effort and attention, but because there is no such thing as balance, right? And so everybody, most people know what they want, but few people know what they're willing to sacrifice. And if you want entrepreneurship, it takes so many, like an infinite amount of hours, and you have to do it outside of your normal. I have to provide for myself, especially as you're older too. Like I see a wedding ring on Nick. Like you're now not just providing for you. Like, and I've got 5 kids, and now I have 3 grandkids, and my in-laws live in my basement. Like I'm currently responsible for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people plus my wife, 11, 12 people. And that's not even an extension of my inner, like the people that live in my house. And so if I was being an entrepreneur and trying to change my life and be a side hustle, like I burn my ships, I'm putting all those people at risk as well too. And so I think it's also a different conversation if I'm 22, I'm willing to live in the back of my car and on ramen and vodka, right? That's a different scenario. Because you can hit the reset button multiple times if it's just you depending on you. And so as you age, mature, and start to grow your tribe, more people become dependent on you, and the burning your ships becomes more and more relevant to not do.
Yeah, no, I
And
100%
I'm
agree.
not saying be conservative. I'm saying go after it, but you gotta put food on the table.
Yeah, no, be smart. If it's like you got to take a risk to be an entrepreneur, but if you're risking your life, like other family members' lives, where it's like it's a crazy situation. I agree with you, where it's like definitely context dependent.
People say that creates urgency, and I'm just like, no, it creates desperation.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, no, you make very different decisions when you're
Very different
desperate. Yeah,
emotion than urgency.
1000%, 1000%, dude. Well, this is amazing, man. I really appreciate you coming on. So we ask every guest the same last question. The podcast is called Born to Be Great. So the last question is just, James, what does being great mean to you?
Never quitting. Yeah, being great is just keep showing up. Keep showing up, and in fact, being great is not to get to the mountaintop and stand there solo. It's how many people can you bring with you to the mountaintop. And I'm looking, you guys know Utah. I'm looking out my window right now. There's a beautiful snow-capped mountain there, and I'm like, dude, if I was standing on that and I was looking around, I was by myself, I didn't do my job. I didn't try to impact a million minds. I didn't try to impact, educate, and influence anybody else. It was a selfish pursuit. And so I think to be great, what was your legacy? What was your ripple effect? How many times is your name uttered after you've passed? Like to me, that's greatness. Like, are they still talking about you and your impact 10, 20, 30 years later after you're no longer here?
I love that, dude.
Yeah, that's probably the best answer we've
Yeah.
gotten, man. Bring others along with you, and the more value you can create for others and help them achieve their goals and dreams, it'll come back around to yourself. So that's Yeah, that's probably my favorite answer of everyone we've heard so far. So I appreciate that, James.
I'm only your second guest, so that's not really high.
Fucking facts.
No, that's fun. That's awesome, man. Well, James, where can people find you, man? Tell them what you're working on. What's next for you?
Yeah, man. We post everything on Instagram. So at Iron Cowboy James. Our website's ironcowboy.com. And if you want to reach out to me personally, it's James at Iron Cowboy. Check out our Commit 365 program. If you don't like where you're at and you're looking in the mirror and you're feeling sorry for yourself, it's your own damn fault. You're not changing it, you're choosing it. And so join us, and I promise you 365 days from now, your life will be different.
You guys go hit up James, man. Awesome. Well, James, we appreciate you hopping on.
Thanks, Justin. Thanks, Nick. 2 new dogs I can follow. Let's go.